Hey guys, what's up? This is Matt here. I'm coming to you here with a deck list of the new prophecy once we have the Judgment Day. It's going to be kind of a long video. I'm going to kind of go into depth on a lot of the things with the new build in case some of y'all might not know some of the things that it does. So this might be a review for some of you players that have been playing the deck for a while. But I'm going to get into the deck, the profile first, and then I'll go into some of the details later. So, starting with the monsters, we're going to have 3 Priestess of Prophecy. She's your boss monster, and you really have to run 3 of her in this build. You could maybe have gotten away with less prior to now because of all the searching, but now 3 is really needed, as you really need to get to her as quickly as you can while grinding your games out. But I'll get into those details later. Still running 3 Magician. It is for consistency. You can get to those Divine Judgment plays real easy using Secrets, Magician, or Divine Judgment, or Judgment Day, sorry. I'm still on the old naming of the card, Judgment Day. So you have 9 ways to get to Judgment Day, which means that statistically you should almost always open with 1, a Magician, a Secrets, or a Divine Judgment. So you have very good chances of making your play turn 1. Also running 2 Effect Veiler, partly because Effect Veiler is just kind of good right now. When you go second, it can stop, for example, the Elemental Dragons from detaching for the Dragosack, which if they were trying to make like a Light and Darkness Dragon play, a lot of times they'll do that, which means that now they don't get to summon Light and Darkness Dragon, or against, for example, if you're playing against Steel Swarms, you could, or Evil Swarms, you could Effect Veiler the caster to stop them from getting Ophion or the rabbit or whatever else. And the other thing is that it's the tuner, which actually comes up pretty frequently because of the way the games kind of grind out. So anyway, 2 Effect Veiler in this build. I'm thinking about trying 3. Just not sure yet. This is still in its early stages of being developed. I'm running 1 Justice. You only need 1. You search it off Divine Judgment when you need to do that, but you honestly shouldn't be going for Justice immediately. That is not, in my opinion, the way to play the deck. I'll go into more details about what I mean by that later, but I run only 1 Justice and 1 Jalgan. Again, searchable. You don't need to run more than 1, but you do need 1 in there. And I'm also running, and I'm testing this out, the Toon Gemini Elf. I'm testing out the Toon tables. It's been working pretty well so far for me, so we'll see how that goes. But for now, we have that in there. So unsurprisingly, on the spells, we got the 3 Toon tables of contents for Elf to ramp up spells. We also got 3 Upstart Goblins, again, ramping up spells, and it makes your deck essentially a 37 card deck. So it's very much more consistent. Also got the 1/1 day apiece. The 3 staples, Oracle, Monster Storm, and Book of Moon. I'm calling Book of Moon a staple in this build. I don't run Heavy Storm because it's just really not that good. Because you really don't ever set anything that you don't want on the field. And against Elemental Dragons who don't really run traps, and the ones that they do are chainable, it's just not good. But I run these 3, and these are all staples in this build, just because any spell that's good is pretty much going to be a staple in here. And then 3 Secrets and 2 Master. I tried 3 Master, I didn't really like it. It's still playable, but between not really having room for a 3rd one and not needing it, that's just where it is. You got the 3 Judgment Days. Of course, you got to run 3 for the combos. 3 Spellbook of Fate, you have to run 3. It is just too good. Spellbook of Fate is one of the things that makes the deck work. Because of all the all the 1-for-1 removal you get to guard your field while you're grinding your game out. And then you run 1 ofs at the rest. 1 Tower, 1 Life, 1 Eternity, 1 Power, 1 Wisdom. You can search any of these when you need to. Running multiples of those is redundant. You can maybe make an argument for double Wisdom just because you might, against Evil Swarms, it's a little nice to have a 2nd one, but you can always search it, and this makes room for the deck to be more efficient. And then I also run the 3 Threatening Roars. I don't find the Warrant Solemns to be that necessary in this build. You're really locking down the field and then guarding your field, and Threatening Roar helps you do that. On the extra deck, Exceed-wise, we have Gotchi, Shining Elf, Zenmanes, My Stroke, Big Eye, and Dragosack. And then for Exceeds, we have Armory Arm, Catastor, Librarian, Black Rose, Arcanite, Wyvern, Crimson Blader, Scrap Dragon, and Sardis Radiance Dragon. And I would definitely say Sardis Radiance Dragon is better than Sardis Dragon. And I'll go into details on that again here in a moment. And then right now the side deck, which has been changing frequently, so this is definitely not set in stone, but we got the 3 Droll and Lockbirds for the mirror match. 2 Max C, this goes in against Elemental Dragons or anything else that really spams the field real bad. I'm side decking right now, testing 3 Volcanic Queens, which have been working. It's mainly to side against Evil Swarms and Elemental Dragons, because this kills Ophion and they can't safe zone it, or Forbidden Dress, or Infestation, or anything. There's no way to stop it. And this also, when you're going second against Elemental Dragons, siding this in is really good to kill the Light and Darkness Dragon, because you have to have an amazing hand if they Light and Darkness Dragon you to get out of that. And so you're better off siding something for that. And between Max C's and the Volcanic Queens, if they go off trying to get Light and Darkness or something like that, you're going to Max C them, and you'll probably have a Volcanic Queen by the end of it, because you're going to like +3 off this if they push for the Light and Darkness Dragon. I run the 1 Kaiku, it's searchable for Elemental Dragons. Then the 3 D-Fissure, and I also run 3 Royal Decree. And that is the current side deck at the moment. So I want to talk about the deck a little bit, the way that things run now that we have Judgment Day, and the way that I feel is the best way to play the deck, to have the best winning ratio. So generally speaking, you'll have a hand, something along the lines of, let's say, Secrets, Upstart, Threatening, Double Magician, trying to not make it like a super good hand, and Gemini Elf. Sure. You have this opening hand. And what a lot of players that I see are doing is that they'll go Magician, obviously, first, to try to get the Judgment Day off this. Generally, it will, more times than not, even if they're manning 3 effect Bellers. This will get you, pull this back a little bit, this will get you to Judgment Day. So you play your Judgment Day, and then you start counting spells. So you play Secrets, in this case would search for Master would reveal Magician, copy Secrets, and at this point you already have a Threatening Roar, so you would probably go into Tower just to add another spell. And then you'd probably Upstart Goblin. I did Upstart Goblin because the deck's all organized, so it's not really realistic. You would have Upstarted Goblin as well in that sequence of plays. You would have done that before you played Secrets, because it's better to know what you're going to draw before you search. But anyway, you would have played Upstart Goblin, so you would have had 4 in this scenario. And then at the end of it, they'll like set everything they can, and then they'll go get 4 spell books, and then they'll go run and get Justice immediately. No matter what you're playing against, if you know it or not, you should go get Jalgan instead. Sorry that my angle's really bad here. You should go get Jalgan instead of Justice, because you're going to end up, in this case, with a Threatening Roar set, which is going to guard the Jalgan. Now Elemental Dragons can't go off. Evil Swarms cannot summon Ophion. Opposing players cannot special summon with their own Judgment. I mean, they might be able to Fate the Jalgan if they have a pretty good hand, but I mean, that forces them to have something like a Fate, or else they can't special summon their own Jalgan or their own Justice to go off back on you. And it's just really good. If you didn't have Threatening Roar here, instead of searching for Tower, you could have gotten Spellbook of Fate. So instead of this, let's say you didn't have that in your opening, that would be a different opening, obviously. But if you didn't have the Threatening off these searches, at some point you can end up with a Fate, or maybe you opened your hand with a Fate. So now you end up with this field and a Fate set, and there's 3 in the graveyard. So whenever they try to swing over Jalgan, you can just Fate for 3 or Fate for 2, depending on the scenario. Either flip their monster down to banish it, and you'll be good to go. They can't swing over. And then after this, you have the field locked down, and you just search, like 3 spells. Now you can go off with another Judgment, and you just continue to grind the game out because this is stopping them from going off. And whenever you're ready to go off at any time, you can spellbook a fate it, flip it down, and then drop your hand with priestesses or whatever, and then flip summon it, and then you can just start punching them down, and you'll probably have a spellbook of fate readily available because of all the plusing you're doing in the process. But I would definitely say running to Jalgan immediately is the best way to play the deck. Unless you know what you're playing against and they don't special summon at all, which I can't even really think of a deck right now that would be playing where locking out special summons is a bad thing, or like it doesn't affect them. Because pretty much every deck does that in this new format that is relevant. The other thing I wanted to go over in the extra deck was why Stardust Radiance Dragon's better, and also why I think Wyvern is extremely relevant to run in the extra deck. The rest of it's pretty self-explanatory. But as far as the Radiance Dragon goes, you occasionally, whenever you grind your games out like this, which again I think is the best way to play the deck, a lot of times you're going to end up with this field where you have, that's a bad example. Well, let's just say there would obviously be more things going on here than just what I'm showing you, but just for sake of an example, you'll have something like this. Let me get another fate. You'll have something like this where you have a Jalgan on the field, you have 2 fates, and you have like a priestess and 3 spellbooks in hand, and you also have Effect Veller in hand, because we are talking about the cases where we have Effect Veller. And what you can end up doing is fading your Jalgan face down, summoning your priestess, and then normal summoning Effect Veller, and then priestess blows up whatever priestess blows up, and then sinking into 8. And at this point, as far as this scenario goes, you could either go into Stardust Radiance or Stardust Dragon. And if you go into Stardust Radiance Dragon, which I believe is better, you have the fate, and in this scenario Wisdom too, but you're almost always going to have the fate to guard your Jalgan, so you're going to flip Jalgan, so you already have fate guarding Jalgan. But now you have Stardust Radiance Dragon guarding Jalgan, which guards him from attacks. Which is important because if they were to attack him with a Stardust, you would have to use your fate. But if all they can do is get one creature on the field with Radiance on the field, then you can just use Radiance's effect to guard him, hold your fate, and now it's even harder for them to break this lock that you have on them, and you can continue to grind your game out, and you're constantly attacking them with 2,500 attack point Stardust Radiance each and every turn. Also, even if they did like Dark Hole in this scenario, this is still better, or it's still equally good as Stardust Dragon, even in those scenarios, because in the case of this, you would just guard your Jalgan, and this would die, right? In the case of Stardust Dragon, you would Stardust Dragon Tribute, and Stardust Dragon isn't coming back because of Jalgan anyway. Jalgan conflicts with that, so you might as well Stardust Radiance in this deck. It's just better, and it guards Jalgan from attacks. And it lets you hold your resources so that even when they do get like 2 creatures on the field somehow, or they try to do like Dark Hole, and you can kill this off, and then you can just really guard from any kind of play that they're going to make. The other thing I was wanting to mention was the Wyvern, and let me set up a scenario where this would be relevant. It opens up OTKs where, and I know this is going to seem a little far-fetched for somebody that might not have played with the deck much, but you have Jalgan on the field, and let's say you have, because you've been just sitting on the Jalgan, you have like a double Priestess play with an Effect Veller and 3 spellbooks in hand. You can end up fading the Jalgan down and then double summoning Priestess. You would also have a life at this point because you've been like fixing your hand the entire game. Every single turn you've been fixing the hand that you have. I'll just put that back. You've been picking the spellbooks you want each and every turn. You would have a life at this point. You can double summon Priestess and then blow up 2 cards, whatever's on their field, and then overlay the Priestess into the Dragosack, and then detach the Priestess for Dragosack, and you would get 2 tokens. I'm just going to use my pink extra deck cards. And then you can normal summon Effect Veller, and Effect Veller with the 2 tokens makes Wyvern. You can life, showing one of them, banish Effect Veller for Priestess, and then flip summon, and that's an OTK, because you're swinging with all of those, and then he's getting the bonus. Like, even if you've used 3 Upstart Goblins, as long as you have close to full life or full life, you pretty much win. There's no way to really stop it either. They can't drag or gores it, and you've already blown up their field and have them on lockdown. So it gives you a way to OTK in one turn, rather than if you didn't have that play, then you would only be able to do like 5,200 damage, maybe like 7,200 damage if you get like secrets for power and like power master power, but that's still not an OTK. So this opens up an OTK, a one-turn OTK, where you just grind your games out and then you push for the OTK right when you have all the pieces available. So I think Wyvern is extremely important to run because he does open that door up as a possibility. But anyway, that's my deck profile. I'm still working on the deck. This is only like my 4th day into testing. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of it.